That was Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band Against the Wind. Just had to play it. It is kind of windy out there, so.
Yesterday, I just about got knocked off my feet.
I heard somebody say, can get my plants off the porch. They were asking their son, because they're going to blow to Kansas. And I was like, no, they'd be more like Texas.
Yeah, it was blowing from the north. It was going from the north to the south.
If it goes up to Kansas, then we got a whirlwind going on out
yes,
there.
Exactly. You need to call your weather people. Which weatherman do you guys use? Is it David?
Channel 9.
Channel 9, okay. Gotcha.
News 9 does it, so.
Exactly. So you'd have to
they're very reliable. It was just somebody talking, like, my stuff's going to blow to Kansas. I'm like, maybe not.
Right.
By the way.
Well, something that won't blow away, and part of the reason that we plant cover crops, is to keep the soil together so that we don't lose topsoil during the time when we work a whole lot of our ground.
There are a few listeners that may not know who you are. We should probably start with Shannon Mallory. He's the ag educator for the OSU K County Extension Office in Newkirk, and you are a wise man. You know a lot. We were talking about things before we go on the air. Always, I learned something before we get on the air.
I appreciate those kind words, Beverly, but I just research something real quick before all of our programs on Fridays.
That's the hard work right there. Is the research.
Yeah,
so then when somebody says, "Hey,"
exactly.
you're like, "I know that."
Exactly.
If not, I will research.
I really get it keeps me fresh. Right. Doing these morning radio programs.
So today it's cover crop planning.
Yes, exactly, for homeowners. So
see, I thought it was about crop people that were planting crops, but homeowners can also do things.
So certainly you've heard the crop side of things. They call it green cover and a whole bunch of other names, but it's largely having something growing on a piece of ground at all times.
Right.
Cover crop is usually not thought of something that we're going to make money off of, or that it's going to be excessively pretty or something like that. It's just something to cover and hold that soil together, and not just have open bare soil at all the time. So there's a lot of benefits to cover cropping. For example, holding soil together, we mentioned, having something there. There's also, especially during the summer, there are summer cover crops. For example, if you're a wheat farmer and normally you didn't have anything there during the summer, you might plant something to keep the moisture levels high, because if you've got shade from plants, it's actually going to block out the sun and keep that soil from drying out. There's a whole lot of reasons as well to...
Nutrients?
Yes.
Is that one reason?
So that is one of the things before we plant, we're going to turn that soil, or we're going to terminate this cover crop. If you plant legumes, it will fix atmospheric nitrogen and some way, shape, or form fertilize your soil. But there's also, we may till or rototill that garden bed with all of this green cover that we produced over the winter, and then that's going to provide some organic matter and some nutrients as well. So there's a lot of benefits. So good reasons to plant cover crop. But if you're wanting to do that, there actually are some vegetables, legumes, some things that you would be able to get a little bit of a small crop for yourself. So any legumes. Hairy vetch is a wonderful one. Peas, let's see, clovers are a legume, and all of these fix nitrogen. Also, they're a lot of them are very beautiful during the spring.
Let's go back to clover. Red clover?
Yep.
That's one of the most... You can eat it?
Oh,
see, that's what...
Thank you.
To me, that means it's something you can...
Honestly, you possibly could. I'd have to look and make sure that you could or not. Thank you for catching me on that. Yeah,
sure. But it is beautiful, and it does provide nutrients in the soil, so that's what's important.
It's wonderful for our pollinators during the spring when they shoot up their little red clover.
Right. I have this weird thing that you'll see on the side of the road, around ponds, everywhere. It's in my yard. I let it grow huge, and they have these little pink things, and like you said, the pollinators love them.
Yeah, they go crazy.
I know my neighbor's probably like, why she got that big old weed over there? But it is beautiful. It's a beautiful weed. So.
Yeah, so don't hate on it, right? Yeah,
exactly. Don't hate on weed.
Yeah, and then we have a whole lot of our winter grasses, like winter wheat, winter rye, barley, ryegrass. There are differences between those, and then oats and stuff like that. So what we end up doing is we mix a whole lot of these seeds together and toss them kind of just in that garden bed that we're not going to use for this time of year. You can buy cover crop mixes at a lot of our home and garden stores. You can buy them certainly at nurseries and greenhouses and stuff that commonly sell seed. Or you can do like I do and just start kind of go to the rack and grab just a bunch of random stuff, and kind of grow it and see what grows. More so experimenting there.
Now, when will this grow? It'll go
Right.
and come up during the winter. It'll grow
Right
during
now is
cold
when you
weather?
can start planting it.
Start
So
planting
for
it.
winter cover crops, all of the things that I read are clovers, a lot of our winter peas, our hairy vetch, and then our winter grasses, wheat, rye, oats, barley, stuff like that. You can plant right now and it should sprout up as long as our soil temperature is above 50 degrees, which right now, even with it being quite cold recently, we're still above 60.
Okay.
So we've still got quite a bit of time. So if you've got a garden bed that not a whole lot of stuff is going on in, we can plant some stuff in it right now just to kind of keep some green cover over it. And I'll tell you, it does a whole lot of good and a whole lot of benefits during the year for it.
So it'll save your soil and provide some nutrients.
And
for
provide
next
some
year's
nutrients.
crop, or
Correct.
whatever you're going to plant.
Yeah, and then you like we said, you can either till it in, and that will add some organic matter to the soil, or you could just do like I do and just either mow it, scalp it, mow it, real load it down to the ground when you're ready to plant in whatever your spring garden is, or you can take a kill-all weed killer like glyphosate or something and spray that area. Wait a certain amount of time. All of them should have a label of how long you can kill and then plant back into. And it'll also reduce your weed pressure for the year if you do like that. So
sounds like a
yeah,
good plan. So
yeah,
you
less
want to be sure
backaches.
and check though when you can spray and when you can plant though in between. You don't want to spray.
There
and
is
plant too
I
soon,
believe
or
it's
it
called
could-
like the plant back window.
Okay.
Right.
So you don't hurt the plants you want to.
Exactly.
to have
You're
the
supposed to
crop
wait a certain
from.
amount of time. For example, glyphosate has a very short residue period.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's either 7 or 14 days. I got to remember it. But
So sometime in the spring.
right,
spray
exactly.
and kill
That's a
it.
very short one. Some of them have 30 to 60 days. So it's important to know which one you've done with for that, so that you can plant back into it. But yeah, but if anybody has any questions or concerns or want to talk about anything horticulture, garden, agriculture related, please don't hesitate to call the K County OSU Extension Office at 580-362-3194 or at County K on social medias and K County OSU Extension.
All right, or stop by.
the office in
courthouse in the
Newkirk.
basement.
Yep.
You're still in the basement for now.
Still there for now. We're waiting on the fire
Won't be
marshal,
long.
so it's getting real
Oh
close.
yeah, you're down to the final few weeks.
exactly,
Then maybe. All right.
exactly.
Good information. Thank you for coming in, Shannon. And if we have any questions, we'll be sure to call you. Right?
And maybe see you at homecoming tonight at Oklahoma State University. So we'll see you there.
All right, see you there. Here is poison. Every rose has its thorn. We got to plant things, so I thought it was appropriate.
Plants, Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming in, Shannon. Happy Halloween.
Thanks, Beverly.
KPNC, Sean in the morning show. It's 8:16, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, good morning, Shannon.
Hey.
It is, a wonderful Friday. It's cool. It's 47, and we're hoping that today is a reprieve from the insane wind yesterday.
We were reading wind gust before we got on air. 52 in Newkirk was the wind gust.
What in the
like the
world?
high wind, and then like Alva, Oklahoma had 70s, like 74.
74 mile per hour winds.
Yeah, you said there was a hurricane. I mean,
That's like Category 1 hurricane.
gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't that crazy?
yeah, and no storm with it.
Just wind.
Just wind.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's Oklahoma, where the wind comes
Sweeping down the plain. The
and
wind
it may sweep you off your feet
Yeah.
if you're not careful.
Yeah, it nearly will.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, I got to tell you, Sean in the Morning Show, brought to you by Osage Casino Hotel. Tomorrow night, it is the Wicked Weekend party. It starts at 9, goes until 1:30 in the morning. You're invited, free admission, and the Wicked Weekend includes a big costume contest with huge cash prizes. I'm very serious. You could win some big money with your costume. Tomorrow night at Osage Casino. Admission's free. Food, cash bar, live music, costume contest, Party starts at 9. It's the Wicked Weekend Party, Osage Casino, Ponca City. And we're going to be chatting about just kind of a teaser here. We're going to be, now I've never heard of this before, but that doesn't mean anything because I haven't heard of a lot of things. So not a big deal that I haven't heard of it, but cover crops. Now this we're going to be talking
growing things in the winter.
Growing things in the winter that you're not necessarily, the purpose isn't necessarily to make any kind of profit or anything, but you're just doing it for the health of your soil.
Yes.
What?
You nailed it.
Why, did I really?
Well, seriously, I just want to tell people, we talked about it like 10 minutes ago, and he just said it again.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. Well, it sounds interesting, and I do want to find out more about it because this sounds like something where you could really have some fun with it, maybe.
Certainly, yeah.
Maybe. Okay, we'll chat about that. Shannon Mallory from the Oklahoma State Kate County Cooperative Extension Service will be with us coming up. First, it's time for news. Beverly Cantrell has headlines from around the area and around the state from PunkaCityNow.com, and it's brought to you by Ben's Pharmacy. 101 Country KPNC Old Dominion. I was on a boat that day. Yeah, that's what I was doing. So
I hope you weren't on a sailboat yesterday.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah.
Speedboat.
It'd be a rocket ship.
Yes.
Sunshine and cool. It's 47 now. Thankfully not as windy as yesterday. No, that's good. Well, it's cover crop season. It is cover crop season.
It's cold.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting there, yeah.
When it gets cold,
Yep.
it's kind of the off season. And like here's the thing. The analogy I'm going to pick is like a sports team in the off season. They're doing things to prepare for the next season.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can use that anytime.
Okay.
And just don't tell them where you got it, or they'll laugh.
Okay, but
I have no idea.
they may not think it's trustworthy.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But this is interesting, and I didn't know cover crops were a thing.
Right. They've been a thing in agriculture and then livestock production for a long time. You mentioned not making a profit off of it.
Yeah.
It's more so, its main purpose is soil health, but I've seen people make a little money off of it.
Well,
they might graze cows on it or something,
Right.
So...
Can you have fun and you can just plant something for the fun of it?
There's a lot of producers in our county that do have a lot of fun with it. They kind of know that they're not going to make a whole lot off of it, that it's
Right.
more so for soil health. For example, we a lot of people have heard that legumes, beans or bean type plants,
There you
they
go.
fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and put it down into the soil. So that's one of the things you can lower your fertilizer bill just a little bit by planting beans as a cover crop. But some people will plant like clovers, some people will plant all different types of vetches, and they put on a lot of flowers, which our pollinators love during the spring. And they're like, well, you know what? Since I've got all this clover and flowers, I think I'm going to be a beekeeper now.
No.
So we've got a few of our farmers who are
Really?
becoming beekeepers because they plant cover crops.
Like this natural progression.
Right, yes.
Next thing you know, it's local honey.
Exactly,
You got
yeah.
a sign up by the road.
Yeah, so we actually have quite a robust beekeeper association here in Ponca City, North Central Oklahoma Beekeepers Association.
Brave people.
Yep, they really are. They're wonderful people. They do a lot of little programs too. But anyway, there's a whole lot of crops that you can plant in your garden or your garden bed. One year when I was at Oklahoma State, we planted winter rye and ryegrass, and those are two different things. We planted those in the garden beds just to kind of keep the soil covered during the year. And it was actually quite pretty. You had this beautiful green, lush garden bed during the winter. It looked really, really nice. And now is the time to plant those seeds for, I've got a long list of them, but a lot of our legumes, our vetches, clover is a legume as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got, a lot of our winter grasses and stuff like that. So rye, wheat, barley, oats, those types of things you can plant right now, and they should come up and provide good cover. A great example of why we need cover crops is like what we had yesterday with that crazy wind.
Okay.
If you've got something covering that ground,
You don't want your topsoil to go
exactly,
gone.
yeah, you don't want your topsoil to go to Kansas like it did in the Dust Bowl.
Right.
You're welcome, Kansas.
Kansas is like, thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Sorry.
We'll grow stuff in that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
well,
Yeah, but anyway, exactly. So this is part of the reason we have a cover crop. It also holds moisture a whole lot better,
Okay.
so that when you come into the spring, that you're ready to get. You've got enough moisture in the soil already to start your cut flower garden, your vegetable garden, or whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cover crops. I'm just going to run some by you and see if these would be acceptable.
Sure, sure.
Okay. What about Austrian winter peas?
Yes.
That would be. Okay.
Yes.
Winter wheat.
Winter wheat. Yes.
Is that really one of the most popular? Probably.
That's also probably our cash crop in Oklahoma.
So-
It can be used in your garden bed as a cover crop.
Right. Crimson clover. You mentioned that.
Well, all of the clovers.
There's the red clover, the white clover. There's so many different
Exactly.
clovers. How about the yellow blossom sweet clover, which is my favorite clover?
It just sounds nice.
It does.
Yes.
It really does. Arrowleaf clover. Some people are arrowleaf clover
Yes.
kind of people. Ball clover.
I'd have to look up what that one was.
Yeah. Now the
Admittedly, I may have copied and pasted that onto the list.
alfalfa. A lot of people.
Yes.
Alfalfa.
Yes. Alfalfa is one of the crops that will actually overwinter. So if you can get it established early, it does a really good job, and it's a wonderful crop for those pollinators and honeybees as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oats. Now this is
Oats.
interesting. You can grow your own oats.
Yep.
Really.
You can grow your own oats. Exactly.
You could sow your wild oats.
All right,
As a
Sean.
as a cover crop.
As a cover crop. There
As
you
a
go.
cover crop,
All
is what I'm
right.
saying. Now,
Now I'm not going to be able to post this video.
right. So, all right. We'll do a clean edit. So, oats. You can use oats as a cover
Right,
crop.
you totally could, so people go, well, what do you do with this cover crop? One of the things you can do with cover crops, a lot of farmers will harvest oats, rye, wheat for feed, for cattle or livestock
okay.
or something like that. So they will harvest it, and you're not making money on it, but you're not losing a whole bunch.
Right.
Or maybe they'll graze animals on it to eat it down. But in many cases, for like a garden or something, when you're ready to plant in your summer garden, your spring garden, whatever timing that is, they either just mow it real tight to the ground, and basically kill it, or they'll go in and till it under, and all of that green matter that we just grew is now in the soil and providing organic matter, or they'll just terminate it. They'll spray it with some kind of herbicide. If you're going to do that, certainly read the label and find out how long you need to wait to plant back. Like with something like, for example, if you put a pre-emergent herbicide down,
Right.
seeds won't sprout.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
there's all different types of herbicides that you would put out there that would not be advantageous to planting into the garden just because of how they work.
Yeah.
So read that. But some people will just terminate it with a herbicide and stuff.
Okay.
So there's all different types of reasons to do cover crops. The short one, which you mentioned, is it's a lot of fun. It's
fun.
cool to grow a whole lot of stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Sure. And there's no pressure. You're not have pressure to.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
You're just like, we'll see how this works.
yeah, well, maybe it'll work. Maybe
And
it
it
won't.
protects your land.
Exactly.
That's exactly it. If you want to find out more about cover crops, you want to find out more about anything at all that we've ever discussed with Shannon Mallory with K County Cooperative Extension Service, a service of Oklahoma State University, you can do it. How do people reach you? What's the best way?
Easiest way is phone, 580-362-3194. You can also reach out on social media at K County OSU Extension on Facebook and YouTube, or at County K on Instagram and Twitter.
There we go. Shannon Mallory, always fun. Thank you, and always informative.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, it's time to check in with Lacey Swope with News 9 and that forecast.